Be inspired, informed, and up to date. Tune in to TRAXX Momentum interview feature of the day at 11:15 a.m. Join us as we speak to our panel of guests on various topics. Health on TRAXX on Monday. Tuesday, Spectrum. Wednesday, What Matters? Face to face with our guests on Thursdays. And on Friday, tune in to W Talk. TRAXX Momentum, Monday to Friday, 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. only on TRAXXfm.
Good morning and welcome to Health on TRAXX on Momentum. My name is KG and in the studio today we have Dr. Wong, Chi Kuan, who is a consultant in respiratory medicine with the UMMC, otherwise also known as the University Malaya Medical Center. Today we are talking about World No Tobacco Day. Good morning and welcome to the studio, Doctor.
Good morning, KG.
All right, it is lovely to have you here today. And Doctor, before we move on with the questions, I would just like to read out some statistics of the Malaysia smoking rate, since we are talking about World No Tobacco Day. Now, the most recent smoking rate that we have is for 2018. I mean, maybe this is civilian, maybe you guys have a more updated version, but just for our listeners, I would like to say, as of 2018, it is said that 21.80% of Malaysians are smokers. Now, this is for men and women aged 15 and above, and they who smoke tobacco products on a daily or a non-daily basis. But one good thing is it has shown continuous decline since 2010, which is great news. And of course, there's also like certain countries like Australia who are already, if I'm not mistaken, it's Australia or New Zealand who's actually implementing a generational smoking ban over time. Would love to hear about that. Now, of course, Doctor, let's talk about you for a moment. Now, tell us, what does a consultant in respiratory medicine actually do?
Yes, my job is to treat all the respiratory conditions under the sun, like for instance, smoking-related diseases, particularly a condition called chronic obstructive pulmonary disease, whereby this cigarette smoke actually damages the airways as well as the lung, and also can cause a person to be very, very breathless. That's the most worrying part and the issue that we are facing at the moment, and it kills all these patients. The other thing I manage are those patients with other infections like tuberculosis, which also happens to be higher chances to get in smokers.
Absolutely.
And also patients with long COVID conditions.
Yes, and you have been definitely very, very busy over the past 2 years managing COVID-19 as well, right?
Yes.
So thankfully that now we're in the endemic phase, maybe you can actually take a day off after this.
I don't think I've taken a day off since the pandemic has started.
Oh, Doctor, you need a vacation. But you know what? Today we are talking about World No Tobacco Day, and actually tomorrow, the 31st of May 2022, is World No Tobacco Day. Now, let's talk about World No Tobacco Day. Like, could you give us a bit of history about it, or would you just like to talk about strategies to avoid using tobacco?
Well, I prefer to talk about the strategies.
Yeah, right.
As the history, I'm not quite sure about that.
It's quite long, yes.
But it's something which is good that the worldwide is having such a day to increase the awareness among the populations regarding the harmful effect of smoking.
Absolutely.
And the tobacco use in our human. All right, so what are the strategies that actually used by Malaysia is called a National Tobacco Control Program. So, of course, to control this tobacco, you need a strong rules and regulations, and also a committed government in sense of like controlling this condition. So they control the product regulations by means like they control the amount of nicotine inside the cigarettes, the amount of tar, and also the carbon monoxide in the cigarettes. They also have a good act which is called the Control of Tobacco Product Regulations Act, which was done in 2004 and amended in 2018. And they also had a lot of enforcement officers banning smoking places and at the gazetted area. These are all done by the Ministry of Health.
Yes, since 2016, you can no longer smoke in restaurants or eateries, and there's also like gazetted sites that you can only smoke on. I think that's very, very good, and I think one of the countries that does it the best would be our neighbor Singapore, where if you even step one foot out, boom, fine, take it and go. Right.
Yes.
Now, do you think we should be as strict as that or not?
Yes, we should actually be as strict as that, because there are a lot of never smoker or non-smoker who actually inhaling all those secondhand smoke, which actually can cause harm to their body itself.
Yes.
Particularly the children and the pregnant ladies.
And actually, I think there are researchers that say that if you're even exposed to secondhand smoke for women who are pregnant, it stunts the growth of the baby.
Yes, definitely. There's researchers has proven that as well.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Now, doctor, this is one of the most common questions that we can ask you. What are the benefits in quitting smoking?
Well, definitely you have a healthier life. Of course, you won't have a higher risk of developing cancer. As you know, cancer is a major risk of smoking, particularly lung cancer. And about 90% of our lung cancer patients actually presented late. And there's no cure for that if you are presented late. And also there's a lot of other diseases that can comes with smoking, which are heart attack, stroke. All your blood vessels will be clotted, right? Your legs can be chopped, and of course the airways problem, for instance, like asthma or chronic obstructive pulmonary disease. And definitely, if you stop smoking, you actually smell better.
Yes, of course.
And you also improve your sense of smell. And the food that you taste is better. You have extra money. And I always tell my students that if you stop smoking, you actually can keep the money and buy a iPhone for the end of the year. At the end of the year.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's much money that you can save.
Absolutely.
If you stop smoking.
Yeah, and I think certain like over time, cigarettes have gotten so pricier that it's no longer a feasible economic thing to do yourself.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Now, what is the impact of tobacco on our society, doctor?
Well, to be honest, this tobacco smoking actually causes about 7 million deaths globally.
Wow.
That is the statistic in 2019.
Yeah, that's more than like some countries.
Yes. And in Malaysia, it's an expensive cost for us because we actually use about almost 3 billion to manage this kind of diseases attributed to smoking.
3 billion Malaysian ringgit every year.
Almost 3 billion.
Just to treat and also to keep these patients. Wow.
Yes. All this cost is on the healthcare providers, as we need to actually manage all these acute problems that's happened after the smoking. For instance, patients with chronic obstructive pulmonary disease, they can come in with an acute lung attack, and that sometimes can be serious enough to be ventilated. You need to be managed in intensive care unit, and that costs a lot.
Yes.
And of course, things like the heart disease, the heart attacks, you need to know that when we do a angioplasty or angiogram, is also causing a lot for the patient.
So, doctor, just deviating for a moment. So, would you say if someone is already prone, say they have a family genetic history of, maybe they get cancer or maybe they are, prone for some other diseases, would actually smoking exacerbate that?
Definitely, you're right. As you have that gene, if you smoke, it actually increases the potential of it developing the disease itself. So, for instance, if let's say you have the cancer gene and you smoke, it actually increases the risk of developing the cancer. That's proven in lung cancer itself.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay. So that is quite amazing and quite scary to be honest. And you know what, doctor? It's a lot to process. We're going to take a short break. We are talking to Dr. Wong Chi Kuan today, who's a consultant in respiratory medicine with UMMC. We are talking about World No Tobacco Day, which is happening tomorrow on the 31st of May, 2022. Right now, we are going to get on with the music, and once the music is done, we will be back to talk to Dr. Wong once again. Right, so it's not easy. 5 for fighting right here on TRAXXfm. Today we are talking to Dr. Wong, Chi Kuan, who is a consultant in respiratory medicine with the UMMC, otherwise also known as University Malaya Medical Center. And today we are talking about World No Tobacco Day. Now, doctor, this is a question that I believe is very pertinent to especially people who think that, smoking is just a fun thing. It's a cool thing. Is cigarette smoking really addictive?
Yeah, you're right. It is very addictive, as the compound that causes the addiction is nicotine, if you have heard it before.
Yes.
And this nicotine actually goes to your brain very quickly. When you first inhale the smoke, within seconds, it actually reaches to your brain. And what it does is it actually acts on releasing a compound called dopamine. And with this dopamine, you have the sensation of happiness,
euphoria.
euphoria, and you are less anxious. You can be very alert, and you can do things very fast, and then you can concentrate very well. So that's the reason why it's so addictive. But the problem is, it only lasts for 2 hours, and you need to take another puff after that.
Yeah. And that's the thing. People don't actually wait 2 hours to smoke. Every hour they have to have, it's my cigarette for the hour. It's my cigarette for the hour. And then you're overdosing on the thing as well.
Right.
Like me personally, I know a couple of people who are 2-pack a day smokers. So I've been trying to tell them, dude, you got to cut down. If you can't stop, at least cut down. Right. And what are some of the major health risks of smoking, doctor?
As what I've mentioned just now, cancer is the major health risk.
One.
Because you know that the chemicals inside the cigarette contains about 7,000 compounds. And out of those 7,000 compounds, 52 were found to be causing cancer agent.
So they are carcinogens?
Yes, they are carcinogens. And I felt that there are more and more compounds that is unidentified in the cigarette smokes that can cause carcinogenesis. Right. So the major thing is lung cancer. It can cause any other cancers as well, because the particles are very small. It can go deep down into your bloodstream and can cause other cancers such as the kidneys, bladder cancers, cancers of the cervix, your stomach cancers, blood cancer as well. And it can clog up all your blood vessels, as what I mentioned just now. You can get a stroke, you can get a heart attack, and you can increase the risk of getting an infection, particularly pulmonary tuberculosis, and also pneumonia.
Yes. And I mean, like, putting anything else in your lungs other than just plain good old oxygen and air, it's detrimental for it, because our lungs were not actually meant to handle those, right? We don't have filters.
Our lungs are filters actually for air.
For air, yes.
Yeah, but unfortunately, if we are taking in all these chemicals, all this dirt inside, our lungs are actually working very, very hard. And a lot of time they have to change their way of clearing off all this dirt and also particles. Therefore, the disease comes in.
Yes, absolutely. Now, what are some of the reactions that a person will get after they quit smoking?
They will have actually all these withdrawal symptoms, what we call, and they will feel very, very irritable. A lot of time they can't really concentrate. They can't really function as well. They felt very, very restless. Some of them actually can become very depressed.
Yes.
And they are anxious, and a lot of time they can't really sleep as well. The other way is it will increase your appetite, and a lot of people put on weight after they stop smoking.
And also because they are overstimulating the dopamine senses, even that becomes desensitized, right?
Right.
Yes. Right, doctor, we're going to take another short break. We're going to be back right after that with more to talk about World No Tobacco Day. We are talking to Dr. Wong, Chi Kuan, who's a consultant in respiratory medicine with UMMC. Don't go anywhere. I'm going to be back in a few moments. Hey there, you're listening to TRAXX. Health on TRAXX is in your airwaves right now. We are talking to Dr. Wong Chi Kuan, who is a consultant in respiratory medicine, and he is with the University Malaya Medical Center. We are talking about World No Tobacco Day, which is happening tomorrow on the 31st of May 2022. Now, doctor, let's talk about some of your personal experiences, right? Now, could you tell us, like, what were some of the youngest ages of your patients, like, especially smokers, right? Like, how young were they when they actually took up smoking and they had to come to you to, to get checked out and all that?
I've seen a smoker who is as young as when they are in their teens, particularly like 14, 15 years old.
School age.
Yeah, school age. And we have more data showing that the school children are actually taking up smoking habits. And they actually come in with like asthma attacks. And we actually have to find out exactly why they have an asthma attack. And
these are patients with no symptoms before.
Yeah, true enough that they might be having a asthma condition, but it was very, very well controlled. But because of this, smoking actually trigger off their asthma and become very uncontrolled. And some of them actually ended up in the hospital for admissions to treat their lung attacks.
Wow, 14 years old, smoking. That is scary. And of course, now with there's a lot of advertising on the internet and all of that for no smoking. Why don't you try this to help you? Like things like this, vape and all of that, right? Is it really, like, from your opinion per se, is it really the way to stop smoking?
I disagree with like using vaping to stop smoking because vaping itself, there's no control on the amount of nicotine you ingest. You need to know the juice, the e-juice, is contain a lot of chemicals as well, and some of those chemicals can cause a lot of a lung problem. It can cause a condition called popcorn lung.
Yes,
the damaged lung, and that can be permanent.
Yep.
And some of those patients can have a very bad lung injury to the lung that require admission and can kill. Those kind of disease.
Yeah, because if I'm not mistaken, there is polypyrene glycol or vegetable glycerin, all of these things inside there. Those are not things that are meant to be inhaled.
No.
Right, absolutely. No. So guys, if you're trying to stop smoking, please don't go to vaping, right? Just stop smoking per se. Now, there's of course the question, right? Like, those cigars and all of those, right? They just puff and then they let it out. Are they at risk if they just puff the cigarette without inhaling the smoke?
Although they don't get this kind of nicotine dependence as high as those cigarette smokers who inhale into their lung, they tend to get to inhale the secondhand smoke. And secondhand smoke is detrimental to our health as well. The other thing is when they put all these cigarettes and they are not inhaling it, actually can cause more harm to their oral cavities and also to the lips. All these places can actually develop cancer as well.
Mouth cancer.
Yes. So all these things is not advisable to do so. If you want to puff, might as well stop as well. Right.
Yeah, I mean, you don't have the dependency as per se.
Yes.
So, and it's not like, what is the reason that you think, like, I mean, based upon your research over all these years, right? What is the reason do you think that people actually, they want to take up smoking? Is it peer pressure? Is it because it's cool or such?
From my experience or opinion, I felt that it is due to peer pressure. And of course, also in the family itself. It depends. If let's say the parents or someone who's elder in the family become an example to them, they will actually follow. So it is very important that the parents, they have to be mindful when they smoke. If they smoke in front of children, the children thinks that is something norm. And then they will follow as the footstep. So it is important to educate everyone not to smoke in front of children, because this is can set a bad example to them.
Absolutely. Like if you're really a hardcore smoker and you really need to take a smoke, in terms of psychology wise, please don't do it in front of your children. Absolutely not. But if you can, don't smoke at all. Don't start at all. Don't start at all. Now, doctor, what would be your take home message per se about World No Tobacco Day? What do you want to let our listeners know?
Okay, I have 3 important messages. So if you never smoke, don't ever try Okay, because using smoking to release the stress is actually a negative coping mechanism, and it actually can lead you to a poorer health and also mental health as well.
Absolutely, yes.
So you should use a good coping mechanisms
like gaming.
Exercise. Gaming, I'm not a fan of gaming.
Okay, I
maybe
understand.
you are.
Yes.
I prefer meditation.
Meditation, wow. I
Yeah.
never picked it for meditation, doctor.
Yeah, you should try meditation.
Understand?
And also like playing games and listening to music.
Absolutely. Listen to TRAXX.
Yes, definitely. And of course, if you are a smoker, try to seek help to quit. Right? There are many ways to seek help. You can actually register yourself in the jomequit.com. And this actually, once you register, people will actually contact you and help you on how to do so. Right? And number 3, if you had quit smoking, congratulations to you, and keep it up, and make sure you continue to abstain from smoking. And all of us has the power to help someone to quit smoking. So we start whenever you have the opportunity.
Doctor, before I let you go, I would like to ask you on your opinion of the generational endgame that was, that they are currently talking about. What is your opinion on that particular act that is coming our way in the future?
Yes, I suppose that's a very important move by our Ministry of Health of forbidding this new generation of purchasing tobacco products, because there's so many evidence already showing that the harmful effect of a tobacco. Why not? We should actually end the smoking habits in this new generation.
I understand, doctor. And okay, before we let you go, doctor, one more question. What is your hope for Malaysia as well, Malaysian smokers? What do you want to tell them? Before we end. Last words.
Well, I guess it's important to know to seek for help if you really need help. Don't be shy. You can talk to any of the healthcare providers. We are willing to help because this is our job.
Absolutely. All right, doctor, you've been absolutely wonderful. Absolutely lovely having you on, Health on TRAXX today. We would love to have you again in the future. Maybe we'll talk about other respiratory illnesses, maybe asthma. We'll talk about asthma in the future, yeah, doctor?
Definitely. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Dr. Wong. And we talked about World No Tobacco Day, which is happening tomorrow on the 31st of May, 2022. Of course, guys, if you're a smoker and you want to quit, the Ministry of Health has a lot of avenues where they can help you out. There are options out there for you to quit smoking. Remember, asking for help is not a sign of weakness. It's a sign of that you want to improve. And right now, this is a song that our lovely doctor wanted to listen to. It is If You Don't Know Me by now. All he wants you to know is he would want you to quit smoking.